And give me one more second. Okay, let's see. Get my do not disturb on. Great. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Iris. I see one new face, which is super fun. It looks like Katrine or Katrina.
It's Katrine.
Katrine, hi, welcome. Wonderful to have you along with our finish along group.
Well, I'm sort of interloping because I have not been playing this game, so I have nothing to finish. I just dropped in to see what y'all are doing.
Awesome. Well, we like that. If you have nothing to finish, wow, let's just give you all a round of applause.
I have lots of stuff to finish, not part of the game that y'all have been playing. So
yeah, we're having a good time and getting some motivation to dig out some of those projects we've set aside and spend a little time working on them and giving progress reports every now and then. So it's a good group. Where are you joining us from?
Atlanta.
Awesome. Super good. How'd you find us?
It was through the Fiberside Summer Crawl.
Oh, super. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. All right. So we got finish along. Well, let's see. Does anybody here want to start us out with a little progress report of what you're working on and how it's going, or just a little update?
I'll jump in.
Okay, Gwen, let me just get you pinned here for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we're ready.
Well, I thought I was going to become a finish along failure. I had kind of put things aside. I had some construction work going on my porch, and with all the banging and the sawing and the last couple of weeks I didn't do much knitting. So I'm about 5 rows short of finishing my Sea Haven. So that'll be done soon. And in the midst of going through my bags of unfinished projects, which I found I have a lot more than I thought I did, I found one I had gotten about 3 years ago, and I think I bought the pattern and the yarn at the Goat. It's an open-sided shawl collared poncho.
Yep, we have the sample right in the Goat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's with the Kathmandu Aran with merino silk and cashmere tweed, and it's
What's your color? Let me see.
It's like a dark charcoal.
Mm.
It's hard to, but it's got like black and white flecks all through it. And
oh, lovely.
So I went, this has been 3 years that this one's been sitting around. So I'm working on this now for a little bit. So that's
very good.
My report.
I love it. And yes, I also appreciate the open up a bag. Oh, wow. Look at this. I haven't thought about this. Well, awesome. And congratulations on being super close to finishing your Sea Haven as well. That's an achievement.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
And I will just report that I got to have some FaceTime with one of our knit-alonger friends and virtual buddies here, Teresa, who is a good friend of Gwen's. She was just into the shop a couple times on a visit, and then she said, and I'll be back in a couple weeks with Gwen. Super fun. So good. And we had some fun picking some things out. So yay.
Good.
Mona, did you want to check in? You saw your hand go up. The mute is like, if you look down at the, yep, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So hi, everyone. And Gary says hi.
Hi, Gary.
They're talking to you. So, what I wanted to report on was I'm just now doing the bind off on this shawl.
Beautiful.
It's Marie Green's Acryella shawl, and I just have to do the bind off and weave in, so I'll be done. So when could I post a picture to get in the drawing? Do I have to have the ends weaved in?
I'm not going to be looking for that. So you just go ahead and email me a photo. Remind me of the name of the pattern, even though I've written it down, but just remind me of the pattern, your yarn, and which prize you want to be entered for.
All of them. No, I don't know. But I will do that. And so what I was also going to do is I pulled out the next one that I want to work on and that I set aside, which is the Scudic Bay. Is that right?
Yeah, the Scudic Bay cardigan.
So, and I shouldn't have set it aside because a top-up sweater is something that I've never done before. So I'm kind of, oh, it's a cardigan. So I'm kind of lost to where I left off. So I'm working through that. And of course, some stitches fell off the markers I had put in. And so I'm doing all of that. So that's the next one I'm going to work on once I figure out where I am. And as you know, that pattern has a lot of oh shoot, what's it called? I'm sorry, the double moss and single moss. So I kind of have to reorient myself so that both sides match and all of that. So I'm glad to be back working on it because I shouldn't have put it down, but I did. And
it happens, right? And what yarn are you using for that, Mona?
I am using the yarn that I bought from your shop, and it is the West Yorkshire Spinners fleece, blue-faced Leicester in brown.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
So I'm very excited about this. So it just, I need to find out where I am. I kind of have to go over this. So this meeting group is working for me.
That's awesome. Glad to hear that you're inspired to finish. And let me ask you, do you have a copy of the tips that we made for that, for the Scudic Bay? Did you get a copy of, were you part of our knit along for that? I'm not remembering.
I was.
Okay.
So there were tips.
So what I do at the end of each of our knit alongs is I collate all of our all of the little tips and bits from the emails that I've written to you all about that pattern.
Oh,
and
okay.
I put it in just the one document, just making it easier so you don't have to sort and sift back through. So I'm happy if you would like me to email you that again, I'm happy to do that.
If you can put your hands on it, I will also look for it.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's easy for me and maybe more arduous for you. I'm happy to do that. Okay.
Yeah, because that was coming up on 2 years ago. Does that sound right?
It was last September.
It was This is a new project then, really.
Not too old. Not too old.
Not too old is what? Okay. And the other thing that people probably are already doing this, but what's a little eye-opening is I started listing all my projects in Ravelry, the ones I have started. That's really a scary page to go to, but it's kind of a reality, and it's a good thing to use. So hopefully I'll go through all the bags and bits I've got. But anyways, I just thought I'd throw that in. So good luck, everyone.
Thanks, Mona, and we're so glad that it's this is fun for you. We're glad to have you on board, and I will definitely get those tips. I might be able to do it even in this meeting. Anybody else want to check in with a little update on what you're up to? Oh, Mary Ellen, how's it going?
I finished the socks.
Yay!
I have to weave in the ends and block them, but they're
Those are
finished.
so cute.
And I finished the hat.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's beautiful.
This is I made the 4 inches and turned it up.
Yep.
So,
I love that. Can we see the crown? Would you show us the crown? I always love to see the crown of colorwork hats. Oh,
That's
it's a
beautiful.
little big, but I'm wearing it anyway.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah.
2 things done. Wowza.
And I'm starting. Just 1 minute.
Mhm.
This isn't a kit that I've had a while. This bear. I just want to try something different other than sweaters, and it's a toy. And I know they're fiddly. So
Very
see.
cute. Who's that
We'll
toy
see.
for?
I don't know what I'm giving it to one of my great nephews or nieces or someone, probably, unless I decide to keep it for the shelf, because it does have movable arms and legs, and it has clothes. There's a sweater, and then, well, there's a sweater, but then there's like another top thing underneath that, and it has pants. Who knows that I'll do all of them, but I'm working on the swatch for that.
Love that.
So we'll see. Sometimes I abandon things.
It happens. Yep, sometimes we all do.
Is that a Susan Anderson?
Yes.
She makes
Uh-huh.
all little clothes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Really cute.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that update. Love it. So it's just I've seen it, so you know, we've seen this finish. So you can send me your pictures because I might use them in a newsletter. But don't forget to put in your prize choices.
Okay.
Well, Ginny, got an update for us?
Do.
I can't wait.
Oh, so pretty.
Haven.
Ta-da. Perfect weather in August to do a wool sweater, you know? It's done.
Beautiful.
Excited. Yeah, your sweater that you wore on the boat was my inspiration.
Aww.
Color and everything. So
So
yes,
you really just like cruised through that in short order, huh?
it's funny, I always enter it in Ravelry when I start, or I try to, and I think I started it June 25th.
Right after the boat.
Yeah. Well, that's when I bought the yarn, of course, had to start, even though, and finished it. I broke my rule. I was compulsive that I wanted to get it done over the weekend. So I didn't do my 2 days. I just, boom, went through it and finished it Monday. I
Oh
think
my
Monday.
gosh. Amazing.
Monday. So, so now I'm back working on the hexagon granny square sweater for my sister-in-law.
Beautiful. Well, congrats on that.
Yeah, I'll
Don't
have to
forget,
take
and
pictures after I weave in the ends.
we'd love to see it. So nice. And so what number hexagon are you on for the sweater?
Well, I'm doing kind of 2 at a time. So I kind of, oh, well, somebody's not in there. Where's the other one? It's in my yarn bag. So this is the other one. So I kind of try and keep them about the same size.
Awesome.
And I just, not to digress to the boat, but when we were on the boat, I explained to Justin what a yarn barf was, which he thought was hysterical. And I think my sister-in-law wound this ball that I'm doing. I just had the largest sort of yarn. I guess you'd kind of call that a yarn barf that I couldn't
It's almost
get.
like a yarn baby happens.
Yeah, it is. It's just like I kept pulling and pulling and suddenly poof,
A baby was born.
pretty much. So, yeah. So that's that.
That's awesome. Katrine, is it Katrine?
Yes, Katrine.
Patron, just to fill you in, Ginny and I were both aboard a knitting cruise on one of the historic schooners earlier in June, and it was super fun, and it was like the first time I'd met several of our remote goats. So yeah. Oh, Kristin, hi. So depending on what device you're on, if you want to unmute, if it's a computer, the controls are like along the bottom. Got it. Okay.
I thought it was off. Hi, everybody.
Can I pin you for a minute so we can all say hi?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I've,
For anybody who doesn't know, this is Kristin, the owner of the goat, joining us.
I hope you're all having fun. You're all muted, so if you're talking, I'm not hearing you. I have been out of commission for a while with the medical thing, and getting back on my feet very slowly. But so I thought I'd join you tonight and have like some knitting friends in my life. For
Yay! Do you have some knitting you're working on? What are you working
well,
on?
actually, I have crochet with me.
Ooh.
But I finished that one project and I haven't done anything yet.
And if you want to see the project that Kristin finished, we showed it on the most recent podcast, and it's a beautiful parallelogram shawl with one of our newer yarns, the Poema Cashmere. She made it for the shop.
Yeah, really soft and nice. I don't have it to show though.
But you can watch the podcast.
I do need to watch it.
Anybody else want to check in and fill us in on your progress? Teresa.
All right. Yeah. So rotating through my projects still. Haven't finished any, but making good progress on the blanket.
Very
we are
pretty.
now 20 days late, or 22 days late for the anniversary gift, but we're getting there.
Yay.
It's beautiful.
Well, somebody last night was in the shop buying some yarn for an anniversary scarf for her husband of 25 years, and the anniversary was today, so she was just going to wrap up the ball of yarn. That looks good. And what shawl are you wearing tonight? What is this nice one?
All right, this one is the Stephen West Rib Vault shawl. It was one of the yarn along shawls that I made. So yeah,
Love it.
it's a lot of fun to make.
I love that. Thanks for the updates. Looks like Beth, you're up next.
In the midst of a needle emergency.
Uh-oh.
My cord just snapped and I'm trying to rescue stitches, but I think I'm almost there. I'll have to figure this out. But
Well, we
anyway,
can come back to you if you're stressed too.
no, I got them all on.
Okay.
So I just wanted to show, so after the last one, I was telling about how I wanted to learn a new technique, which was 2 at a time socks, and had the same socks on for a year. So this was like how much I had done on the 2 socks. So this is, and then that night after you said, well, why don't you just knit them 1 at a time? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I ran home and I put them on. So that's the one that I haven't started. And then this is the other one that I just started to decrease the toes. So
Awesome.
yes, that was the best suggestion, just to not fight it any longer. And go ahead and do it my regular way. So I've just been doing these socks, working on these, and then I had another pair that I had started, and so I've sort of been switching back and forth. This is the other pair that I'm working on.
Ooh, those are nice. What's that pattern? I like that.
This pattern it's one of those summer lead.
Okay.
She does all. Oh, and I have to tell you, I have knit several of her socks, and always when I get to the heel gusset and picking up the extra stitches, I always get so confused. But I like muddle my way through because I've done, heels, and I know how to pick up in anyway. But I never seem to be going in the direction that she does. So as I'm muddling through, and it says, starting with the left side. Well, I'm looking at it thinking, starting at the left side as I'm looking down. And after I added on all the stitches, suddenly it came to me that she meant the left side as you're pulling the sock onto your foot. And then all of the way that she had the directions, it suddenly all made sense. So the next sock I will know, because what I did was I did a row across, and then I started picking up stitches and coming around that way, like counterclockwise. And I'm thinking, how did she do this? But then it was like, no, it's like the left side as you're pulling the sock on, not as you're looking at it from your stitching, which to me was a little confusing, but hey, whatever works. But I love
the light bulb went on for you. Yay.
Yeah, after I already got it, got all the extras. But let me see if I can figure out what the name of this particular sock is. Oh, it's her leap year socks.
Okay.
That's the name of the pattern. I like a lot of, she has like some real funky patterns, and I like her pattern, like the designs.
So that means you have to finish it this year.
Yes. Oh, I guess, was this year the leap year?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
even realize that's probably why I bought it and did it.
You're so of the moment, Beth, that you don't even know how of the moment you are, right?
I don't know sometimes if I'm coming or going. But anyway, so I've been working on the socks, but yeah.
That's awesome. So good. Well, thanks for that. And hooray for getting over your mental hurdle with the 2 at a time, and things are flying with your socks now. This is good.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's see. Anybody else have an update they would like to share? Looks like Julie. Let's get you pinned here.
There.
All right.
Well, I am working on the shawl that was the inspiration for joining this time. And this is the Hug Shot from Casapinka. And I am down to 15 rows to finish. And because like some of the rest of you, I alternate projects, I also pulled out another shawl that had been sitting for too long. And this is the Rafa by Nona Davenport. And I'm down to 15 rows on this one as well.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I can retain a little bit of focus this week, I have hope.
You might finish 2 projects this week.
Yeah.
It would be really cool if I could. Because I
love that.
Found out about a new baby coming to the family, and I already knew about several more little babies, excuse me, arriving. So I'm a compulsive baby sweater knitter, and I need to get back to those. But I'm excited with these.
And how great, because they're both beautiful too. Wow, you're gonna have go into the fall just like ready with your shawl games.
Yeah, I'll have to decide if I'm keeping them or not. That I don't keep all my shawls because I only can wear so many at once. And I have central heating, so I don't feel the need to pile them all on.
Well, it looks like a gorgeous day to be sitting on your porch out there. Wow.
It is the perfect summer afternoon after a week and a half of fry your brains.
And remind us of where you are again.
I am 10 miles east of Seattle.
Right.
So I'm just off I-90, which always struck me as fun that I would drive west to east to get to work out here on I-90 when I used to drive east to west to get to grad school
Hilarious.
in Boston.
In
or
Boston,
around
right.
Boston. Yeah.
The good old Mass Pike.
Yep.
Awesome.
I know it too well.
Do you have a favorite baby sweater pattern that you like to keep going back to, or you like to mix it up?
I mix it up. Clara Parks has one in one of her earlier books that I've done a couple times and really like. And I haven't done the ones I used to do over and over for a while, but I've just found one that's a Debbie Bliss that I'm not going to do in her yarn, but I'm going to try it in Cascade 220 actually. It looks like a little baseball jacket.
Oh,
So I think that's for the newest cousin.
That's very cute. Oh, well, thanks for the updates.
Thank you.
Let's see. Anybody else feel like a share? Check in. Judy, have we heard from you yet? Would you like to check in?
I was not that successful. I put the socks down, and I had a little trouble getting it back, and I was working on the toe, and I made some errors, so I ripped it out. So I went through several iterations with needles, what size needles to do, and everything, and bought new needles and this, that, and the other thing. And I finally got one of them done. Okay, so.
Hooray.
oh, pretty.
And so I'm working on the other one this evening.
Oh, well, that looks like you're really
And I just
close.
Huh?
You're really close, right?
Oh yeah. Because now I somehow or another, because the pattern I'm using wasn't really for the little 9-inch needles, I had a little trouble with figuring out what it's just been long enough that I sort of forgotten what I was supposed to exactly be doing. So this is my first pair of socks, so I'm pleased with them because they aren't full of errors.
Well, I just want to share something with you that's awesome. One of our local goats who is working on some of finishing up, she's got some socks she's been finishing up. They're really beautiful. There's a cable up, one side, and she just texted me to say she realized she actually did 2 left socks, so she's got cables going up the left side of the leg, and she's like, you know what? That's just going to be a statement, and that's fine.
Yeah, I have a question here. You mentioned a bind off that you liked last meeting, and what was the name of that? Because I want to use it.
So it's called the Icelandic bind off.
That's it.
I would say that it's especially useful in instances where you're binding off garter stitch. It seemed to be quite seamless. Oh wait, Ginny, are you show and telling it? Okay, let's pin you. Hold on.
See it.
Just hold it. Oh yeah, it's so right. Isn't it perfect?
It's
Yeah.
so it really was like once you get the swing of it, it's good. The first couple,
Super easy.
first you're like, what? What? And then it's like, oh, it's just a bind off. And it is very stretchy. Not so much there, but definitely at the hem of the sweater.
I would be curious to see how it played with like a ribbing. Would it be something you'd want to try on a sock ribbing or something? I haven't gotten that far to try that. Yeah, but you could definitely find a tutorial. Maybe I'll throw a link in at the bottom of this video for that.
I used Very Pink. That's one.
Great.
Iris, I have to tell you, there's a yarn store here in New Jersey that moved geographically. And so a friend and I went out there to check out the new shop. And while I was there, I mentioned to the woman, oh, well, have you heard about this app, Rabbit? And she had not. So I was like, well, my friend in Maine.
You're hip with that. I was just showing it to somebody else yesterday, and they were sort of struggling on their phone in the shop. We had a very busy day, and they were like, "Oh God, Ravelry on the phone. It's so annoying." And I was like, "Oh, let me tell you about Rabbit. It's really great."
And actually, this woman said she is going up to Friendship this summer. So I told her all about the goat, and I told her she should go there. So it's not that much of a distance. You can do it. And I told her to see you guys. So there you go. So she's from
yay.
Blue Purl in Harding, New Jersey.
Cool.
That's so cool. We always like it when people come in and tell us who they are and where they're from. And I always love visiting other yarn stores, even though I have one. I just love it. I mean, don't we all love to go to a yarn store?
We sure do.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
still do.
ma'am.
I own a yarn store. I still love it.
And somebody was also in the shop recently saying how much that's why they like the Fiberside Summer Crawl, because it's like so many more yarn stores than they could ever get to. And they get just a little bit of a glimpse and taste and, maybe something special from this one or that one. And that's certainly why I like to catch up with some of those recordings too. Yarn. It's better to be in person, of course.
Yeah.
Iris, what were you talking about? A rabbit? You and Jenny?
It's
a rabbit?
It's an app, right? It's an app, a little bunny foo-foo. It's an app for your phone. It's a third party that developed an app to integrate with Ravelry. So it's a paid app. You pay one time, and then it will say, "Do you want to link your Ravelry account?" And you say yes, and you put in your username. And what's really nice is, I don't know about you, but I find it really convenient. Of course, I'm taking pictures of my knits on my phone. Then if I trying to upload them through the browser version of Ravelry on your phone is a headache and a half, and it makes that process so seamless. And it just feels very fluid, very intuitive on the phone. And especially since I'm, at work looking up things all the time for people, it seemed like a no-brainer. It's very clean, very nice. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for that. I've never heard of it, so not the rabbits in my yard. Okay, got it.
So it's RAV as in Victor IT, rabbits, like rabbit.
What is it? Wait a minute.
Rabbits.
RAV?
Yep, RAV like Victor IT.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay, well, thanks.
You should have stock in this company, Iris.
You just never know what you're going to learn. Thank you.
Awesome.
Not sponsored by Rabbit.
But we could be.
We could be. So I pulled out my thing that I'm trying to get motivated to finish. If everybody wants to see it,
We sure do.
Absolutely.
it's from I have pulled out pieces of it before. It's a temperature blanket from 2 years ago that I got 5 months into, and it's crochet. And so these are the squares. This is 1 month. And for me, this was a way of doing, this was easier for me than doing one long row, was to make squares, excuse me, going from the center out. And really, you get about 3/4 of the way really fast. It's just the last quarter that takes forever. And the colors just change as the seasons change. And you can see, like, that's April. It totally changed. And this was May. And
Wow.
so I loved them. And it's so fun. And I don't know why I stopped. I guess I'm a busy person. But they're sitting here. And I love them. So, and I think it would make such a nice, I don't always love crocheted things, but if I pick right, I really do. And I'm thinking it might make such a nice blanket for on the couch.
Mhm.
So I need to motivate. So thanks for the motivation.
That's what we're here for. And you're using Chow by
Yes.
Jody Lawn. Yep.
Yes, I am, which I love.
Mm.
It's
Was that a kit?
that's what?
Was that a kit?
No, it's I got the pattern from Toni Lipsy. She's TL Yarn Crafts, and she has a YouTube channel and a book, and she has amazing tutorials. And I crocheted a tiny bit in the past, and she was so good that she made me want to crochet. I just love her stuff. And I had wanted to do a temperature blanket, but I didn't really like the look of the finished temperature blankets I was seeing. So many of them I was like, well, it's a fascinating idea, but I don't like the end product. And I knew that I would never be motivated if I didn't like the way it looked. So I went through many different things, and I came across hers and just loved it. And of course, my colors are very different than hers. But it's Toni Lipsy. She also has a website and a blog post about it with lovely pictures.
And I think when we talk to folks in the shop about her, because we do have some of her books, but you know, there's a lot that she puts out there for free, which is so nice too, and lots of resources for the beginner crochet person, which is fun.
It's a free pattern, and with videos to help you. And yeah, I just love it. I don't know how big it's going to be, so I have to figure out, how many rows I want to put in between everything when I attach it, if I want to add any or add a border, which is scary because borders are long. Yeah. So, but the yarn is not too thin, so it shouldn't be too bad.
What is the concept behind the temperature blanket? I've heard about it. I've seen people do it.
Each row is the temperature of the day in a range. So each color represents a range of degrees. So I made this. Oh, it's backwards, so you can't tell.
No, it's not backwards for us. No, hold it back up.
It's each color goes for a certain whatever average temperature it is that day, and that is what determines the colors. So that's why May is really different, because it warmed up, and it was it was between the 50s and the 70s, so I was able to bring these two new colors in. And, yeah, so every day is just one row, and so like the first part of it goes really fast. And they're not that, even when you get to the end, it's not that big of a square.
Right.
And crochet is fast. I don't know if anybody crochets, but you can do knit versions too.
Just wait, let me pin Ginny. And Ginny, I want you to share your beautiful, yes.
It's very nice.
If I fold it right. The hexagon.
Oh, cool.
So it's gonna.
Oh, I see. It's a little jacket sweater thing.
Right.
Yes. Very cool.
Do two of them. You attach them in the back, and then you can add to the sleeves. You can add to the bottom.
Nice. Who is that for you?
No, my sister-in-law bought the yarn, took it home, started working with it, called me up, said, "I hate it. You can have it." And I was like, okay. And so I'm making it for her. She has a big birthday coming up in October, so she doesn't know it, but this is going to be hers.
She better stay off of our recordings so it can stay a secret.
Yeah.
And does she hated doing it? She didn't actually hate the yarn.
It's fingering.
Oh.
So it's by Earth. And she said it was making her hand hurt to crochet with something this. She's more of like a baby blanket kind of. She's a machine when it gets, she finishes projects like nobody I know. But she just said this was going to be too small for her. And I had just finished doing socks. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So, yeah, tapped into my past knowledge of doing granny squares.
I love it. And I love it with the variegated because that must make it extra sort of just fun, relaxing because you're not having to change color.
It was in a shop window in Asbury Park, or no, excuse me, Ocean Grove. And she said, "Oh, I've seen this forever. I love that jacket. I just love it." And a new owner came in and they were changing some of their yarn up. So this was on sale. So she's like, "I'm going to do it." And then didn't like it. She didn't like I mean, she'll like it when it's done. She just, like I said, wasn't the right weight for her hand.
Well, good for her for noticing that right away. So Katrine, would you like to give us an update on what you're working on right now? No pressure if you don't feel like it, but
No, that's fine. Actually, I'm working on a really simple cropped tunic sort of thing. Basically, it's just a giant square.
okay.
And I started because I was watching Wimbledon and I wanted something that I did not have to pay any attention to. But it's a lovely yarn and the color is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. For you?
Yes.
Yeah, for you. Nice.
Do not knit for other people. It's not so much selfish. It's just that, who knows what other people like. So, well, that's
Fun.
I would knit for my sister or my aunt, but there are not a lot of people I would knit for.
What's the pattern you're using?
There
Or
is
you're just making it up? You're making it up. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Love that. Super good. All right. Well, I have been working on two things, but I didn't give an update on my mystery knit along shawl last week. But Teresa, are you up for, because I know you're doing this, do you want to see what's going on in mine? Okay.
Definitely,
Ready.
yeah.
Ready
I'm
for it.
still on
Okay.
clue 2, but
Okay.
I've looked ahead at some of the pictures of other people's stuff, and I'm confused.
Okay, so I better pin myself. I'm good at remembering that for other people. Okay, so happy, clue 1, and then clue 2 was this bizarre, it's so big, I have to go back. So this is clue 2, and this is my twist on clue 2, and it's obviously not blocked, and but I sort of departed from the directions and did a different approach to this center square, and then I added this cute little bitty striped business in the center. That was a good idea from one of my yarn store colleagues and another knitter who said, "Well, what if you did a cute little garter in the middle?" And then once I started, I was like, "Oh, I want it striped like all the other stripes. So that'll be great." So clue 3 is these wedges with short rows. Okay, so if you think I'm working on a circus tent, you wouldn't be wrong. This is looking like a circus tent, and whether I wear it as a shawl, I don't know. Maybe I'll just have it as a really cheerful lap blanket, but the wedges are really fun. You've got a little bit of I-cord edging on one side. It's not too fussy, and I don't know what clue 4 is going to bring, but we still have these live stitches on this side, so I can only assume that we're going to resolve those. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, and it's fun. I really enjoy this one. It's going well for me.
Which knit along is that?
So it's Kate Davies did this mystery knit along shawl, and it's definitely been a mysterious experience. Every clue has been a surprise.
They've been a little wacky.
Hard to see where it's all going, so I don't know.
Well, I love your color choices.
Yeah, thank you. It's I call it my 1970s beach vibe color palette.
Yeah. Or what did you say? You called it a
if it was a car, it would be a Datsun truck. So yeah, it's been fun, and I don't know that I'll be hurrying to make another fingering weight shawl in the real near future after this, but yeah, I've made my peace with it, and it was like a big deal getting over that clue 2 for me, and I'm happy with it. So, and I'm also working on my, which I don't have up here, but I'm doing the alternating method of Ginny that you shared the last time. So I've been trying that. It's been working well for me. I've got a 3-day with this guy and 3-day with the sweater I'm knitting, which is the Irish Rover pullover. And it's using a new yarn that's the Millstone Tweed that just I fell in love with when I came in the shop. So that's continuing to be fun and joyful as well.
Did you cast on?
I'm like into the body, like maybe 4 or 5 inches. I thought I showed you.
No, I haven't seen this.
Well,
I missed
watch
so
the
much.
podcast. Watch the podcast. You'll catch
Okay,
right
I'll
up.
watch
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah.
Fine.
It feels really good in the hand for sure. The Millstone. It's just really nice. And this pattern has a lot of right cross, left cross, which I hadn't really done, but I like it a lot because it's not cables, and it's at this point the pattern is very easy for me to follow visually, which is awesome too. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
So anybody come across any good like tidbits or yarny nerd things that you want to share with us?
I have a question.
Mm.
How many people in this group are left-handed knitters?
Like you're left-handed people who knit, or like you are
Well, I'm talking about people that do it the opposite way, because there's very little on the internet when you get into a specialty. And I happen to be one of those people.
So do you knit opposite, or do you
Yeah.
knit? Yeah, that my sister was taught that way too. A lot of people would now do continental. Like if I was teaching you to knit, I would teach you continental. But because the patterns are all flipped, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, when you learn a new stitch, it's harder because you have to sort of some of the new techniques are kind of difficult and take me a little bit longer, or maybe a lot longer than someone else, because I'm very I always do everything left-handed. And I was wondering, unfortunately, I'm sorry.
No, you go out, finish.
No, it's just unfortunate that's, I didn't really realize it for years. Because
What
I was just doing the basic.
Did you learn did you learn that way because you were like watching someone teach you in front of you, so it became mirrored, or?
No, the actual basic purl and basic knitting, okay, I do right-handed, okay, but everything else I've sort of taught myself left-handed because it was much easier. I mean, physically, okay, because my left hand is the one that you would use with your right hand. Okay. I don't know how else to explain it. So, okay, I was just wondering if anybody had any tips. I was certainly open, but obviously I'm alone. Yeah, because it can be a challenge, because there are a few little videos out there, but they're not the sort of videos you're going to run to first opportunity. They're pretty amateurish. So, but no, I'm managing. But
we had somebody in the shop who she joined us for our first knit along, and we were like, "Ooh, Kristin, remember you were sitting next to her? I think it was Jamie. Oh, you're muted."
Yes, I remember that. Because it just changes everything because it's backwards, and so and she's not a lefty, is she? She's not a lefty, I don't believe, but she knit the other way, and I just talked to her about what she wanted to do, and like, because we're gonna have to reinterpret this whole pattern for you, and I can't, and at the time I we couldn't do that. We were in the middle of a session with 16 people. And so I encouraged her to go the other direction if it felt comfortable. And I know it's different for you because you are a lefty. But if you wanted to change, you could use continental knitting, which is left dominant.
I've tried that, but I wasn't, some other things were going on this year and I just didn't have the time to really concentrate on it. So I'm going to try going back to that because I think it would be helpful.
Yep. If you want to do anything complicated, it would. But you can do hats, you can do blankets, things like that don't have a left and a right side. You're all golden for those.
There's a woman who works with Meg Swanson. I'm trying to think of her name. I did a virtual class with her, and she taught backwards knitting.
I have no idea what backwards knitting is.
Well, if you don't like to purl, when everything gets over to this needle, you knit backwards onto the left needle.
Okay.
So maybe if you like Google backwards knitting, I mean, it's just a matter of wrapping the yarn in the opposite direction as you're passing it from the right needle to the left.
I might be able to, that might be helpful because
I can't think of the name.
I have sort of a conglomeration of the way I do things. And I just discovered that, you know, I'm doing one thing actually not the best way. And so I need to try and convert.
Well, I always like to say, like, if you get to a point where you're finding it like too challenging, that's the motivation probably that you need. You know, like if you maxed out your current skill level, you know what I mean, and bump up against this frustration because the thing you're trying to do is just really difficult. I feel like sometimes that's the best motivation to get you to make a change too, you know. So if things are going along fine for you, great, you know, keep up the good work, and then, you know, you may or may not hit a place where you're like, you know what, maybe I'll invest some time in figuring this out another way.
Well, anyhow, I was just curious, you know.
It's a good question.
Found the odd one out. But hopefully most people have learned right-handed, have learned things differently than I did.
I just recently took an online class with Kate Atherley for continental knitting, and I was pleasantly surprised because I've never done it in continental knitting, and it was a good class, just as far as how she explained it and all of that. So I was pleasantly surprised, and I might practice it and eventually do it. I've recently found out, now I'm a thrower, that I don't hold my yarn correctly in my right hand. I loop it over my finger opposite than what you should be doing, and I can't change it. It doesn't feel comfortable. So isn't that weird? I happened to go to a retreat where Carson Demers was the speaker, and he was watching me knit, and I went, what? I said, my grandmother taught me this way. Who knows if she did or not, but it's really hard to unlearn something, right? Everyone knows this once you learn it. And I might have to keep trying, but it was a big eye opener for me.
Well, I will have to comment on that because if it works for you, it's not wrong.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say.
Different. There's so many people that want to police things like this, and there are so many ways to knit from all over the world. And if it works for you, then you're knitting right. I hate it when people say, oh, you did that wrong. It's like, you made a thing. It's not wrong. You knit.
Well, and I will say he was very gentle about it. He wasn't, he wasn't the way, he's a really nice guy, but it was something I just didn't know. It, because I'm used to doing it that way. So, but it was just a good thing to know. And I think it was more like being efficient if it was the other way. But, that's it. I didn't even know that there was, my grandmother did teach me how to knit. I didn't even know there was continental knitting. And I didn't know that what I learned, of course, was English. So,
It's just making fabric, right? With
yes.
different, however you're doing it, crocheting, holding your yarn different ways. But I started to teach myself continental knitting a while ago, and I'd sort of like pick it up and practice it with little projects. Like, if you have like these garter stitch, I mean, there's a heck of a lot of garter stitch that I'm doing right now. And for something like a shawl, who cares if I do one row in English style and one row in continental, right? But I also, maybe last year, I investigated, I'd seen like Arna and Carlos talking about the Norwegian knitting method.
Yeah.
And it's also a hold your yarn in the left hand, but it's like with my continental style, as I was doing it, it was a little bit more like how I hold a crochet hook, where my yarn is like wrapped around my pointed finger. And in the Norwegian style knitting, the yarn is still around my pointer finger, but it's a little bit like the pointer is sort of just like hanging out behind the knitting needle, and it feels a little like less of a big move ergonomically, for Carson Demers's ergonomics of knitting. It just felt a little more comfortable to me. So I think like try out a few different ways and see if you can figure out, what feels maybe comfortable in your hand too, if you're trying something new.
I did find the name of the woman I was thinking of. It's Amy Detjen, Detjen, and she's one of the teachers at Meg Swanson is Elizabeth Zimmerman's daughter. They have a camp, etc. And it's very, it was like one of those virtual classes that I took, and she was talking because some people don't like to purl, so that was a way to do it. And Arna and Carlos, I now Norwegian purl.
That's next level for me. I haven't been able to build that bridge yet, but good for you.
It's all muscle memory. Like once your hand gets used to it, it's just like every so often I'll find myself throwing rather than picking. So yeah, I hold the yarn in my left hand, which then makes crochet real easy because you kind of have to, right?
And it was only once I learned crochet that then I could really figure out, like once I had been crocheting for a little while, I went back to try continental again. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel quite as awkward now.
Right.
Muscle memory, right?
And if you do stranded, like to color, that's when that really comes in handy.
Definitely.
Kristin, I wanted to say thanks for reinforcing the fact that if it works for me, it works for me. So I appreciate you saying that. I just wanted to pop in and say that. But it's always good to learn new things. I hope you feel better soon.
I'm working on it. Thank you. Me too. But yeah, it's one of my things is like, I have so many people come into the store and say, I'm doing this wrong. Or I tried to learn to knit once, but my mom or my aunt told me I was doing it wrong. And it just stops them in their tracks. And and I've known people that do like a combination of the two, throwing and picking. I know someone that holds it in her left hand, and she's one of the fastest knitters I've seen. And so she wraps it around the other side, but she's fast. So, and it's not wrong. It's just different. So I feel strongly about that. I think it just discourages people when you tell them they're wrong, when they're just doing something differently. So,
and also that like, oh wow, it can work like that. I mean, we all, I think our way is the way that feels comfortable to us and that we've learned. And So I think also sometimes it can be like, oh, wow, look at you doing it like that.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, this has
Well,
been
yeah, this has been super fun. I'm so glad you joined us, everybody. And Kristin, so nice to see you on our Finish Along Zoom. Well, Google Meet, I guess. And yeah, so we'll meet up again in 2 weeks and see where we're at with our progress. And I'll be sending you out a Finish Along email next Friday with the link to recording. I might get the recording uploaded before then, but anyway, really nice to spend the hour with you guys, and thanks for sharing all your progress. I'll look forward to seeing some of those finished those emails popping through too with your raffle choices. So yeah, have a great night, you guys.
Take care,
Thank you
everybody.
very much.
See you
Bye-bye.
next time. Bye.